Again, we will begin this meeting. Please note for the record that all commissioners are present. We have 3 items on our agenda. 2 of them are dealing with contracts with YouthWorks and, excuse me?
That was my fault. Sorry, ma'am.
No, that's okay. The first two are dealing with contracts with YouthWorks because of Lutheran Social Services not being able to provide the service any longer. And the last one is with the Courthouse Safety Project bid results. So let's begin with the attendant care program. Debbie, do you want to explain that?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I took the contract that we had with Lutheran Social Services and adjusted it for the amount that YouthWorks said they would want to do the attendant care program. And so I just took the existing contract that we had and modified it, just changing the name to YouthWorks, and put the dollar amount that they had requested, which is actually will be just under what we have left in our budget for YouthWorks, or for the attendant care program, which is originally was $45,012. We paid Lutheran Social Services 2 months, January and February, $7,502. So we had $37,510 remaining, and YouthWorks had requested $34,940. Now remember, when we were paying Lutheran Social Services, it also included a facility, and now we will be providing that facility. So I don't know if we want to do that separately.
Yeah, I think we should do those separately.
Okay.
Because it is 2 separate contracts.
Yes.
And with YouthWorks, will that date then be March 1st through December 31st?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So any questions of the commission? If there are no questions, then I'll be looking for a motion that states that we will have the attendant care program being provided by YouthWorks in the amount of $34,940, and that contract will run from March 1st, 2021 through December 31st of 2021, and we would be looking for the chair's signature on that contract. Does anybody want to make a motion on that?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to move forward with approval for the attendant care contract from March 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 in the amount of $34,940 with chair's signature.
Okay, is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it, Tom.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If there is no discussion, assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Then we'll move on to the second item, which is the Divert program.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, we had a contract with Lutheran Social Services to provide the Divert program. YouthWorks stepped up and said they would like to continue that program. I took the contract, the existing contract that we had with Lutheran Social Services, and modified it based on a budget of $14,000 and the fact that we paid one payment to Lutheran Social Services for January. So that leaves a balance of $12,833. So that's what you see in front of you, that contract. And I don't know if there's someone from YouthWorks that they want to speak about that, or if anybody has any comments about that. I know
Madam Chair, members of the commission, this is Melanie Heitkamp. I'm the executive director of YouthWorks throughout the state. We have historically for around 30 years been doing programming like this in various parts of the state. Lutheran Social Services always provided similar programming up in the Grand Forks area. So this is programming that's very familiar to us. I think that the positive part of this program, or taking on the Divert program, is that we're able to maintain the same staff that Lutheran Social Services had hired, because the feedback from the partner agencies was that they felt very positively about the way the program was running. And so Courtney has agreed to come on staff. So our hope is that the service delivery is somewhat seamless, and there isn't a break in the services that are provided. I have managers up in the Grand Forks area right now looking for office space. And just so you know, we have gone to the Bremer Bank Foundation just to help us kind of with startup, so that we can establish our agency up in the Grand Forks area and have the space and offices. So everything is going fairly smoothly, quite honestly, in terms of trying to not have a huge gap in services or a break in funding.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments of Ms. Heitkamp? If not, I will be looking for a motion to contract with YouthWorks to provide the Divert program in the amount of $12,833, starting March 1st of 2021 through December 31st of 2021, and to have the signature sign the contract, have the chair sign this contract. Would someone like to make that motion?
Madam Chair, this is Tom. I would move that the county contract with YouthWorks for the Divert program in the amount of $12,833, running from March 1st of this year through December 31st, and that it be for the chair's signature. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Falk, is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay, any discussion? If there is no discussion, assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. And Ms. Heitkamp, both of those contracts will be signed, and thank you very much for stepping forward and with a willingness to take on both attendant care and Divert. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
We're very excited. Thank you so much. And it's good meeting you all. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, then we'll move on to the third item, which is the county office building, the courthouse safety project. Mr. Ford, are you going to report on that?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I can get it started. Madam Chair, members of the commission, as you know, we did have the bid opening for the county office building courthouse safety project bids on February 18th. We do have Todd Blix from ICON, who has been overseeing this. He's on with us, and I'm going to quickly throw it over to him because he may have to drop off for a schedule conflict. I'll throw it over to him, and then I know that Ms. Wanstead will have a few thoughts and comments as well. So, Todd, do you mind if I throw it over to you quick?
That's fine. So basically, on as Tom mentioned, we had bid opening. For this project on last Thursday, and received 4 bids, 3 from 3 different contractors. We bid the project out as a single prime bid, meaning there's general, electrical, and mechanical, and each individual general contractor, mechanical contractor, or electrical contractor was welcome to bid on the project. We also provided a combined bid form so that any one of those contracts could take everybody underneath their own. So a general could have mechanical, electrical, for example, under their own contract. We received 4 bids. We received a bid from, it would be Construction Engineers for $139,900 for the general construction portion of that project. We received a bid from Diversified Contractors for $138,800 for the portion of that contract, the general construction portion. And we received a bid from ICS for $129,850 for the general construction portion of the project. Construction Engineers also provided a combined bid of general, mechanical, and electrical for a total of $149,900. Haley and I since have been going through and trying to determine who the low bid would be. The North Dakota State Century Code is a little vague on what the requirements are. And myself and some others in the office have an opinion on who would be the low contractor. And Haley actually did some follow-up work on that and talked to a few other colleagues of hers. And she has an opinion as well on who the contractor should be or could be awarded the contract. And I think at this point, it might be worth having Haley talk about what she spoke with whom to determine what the statute says in their opinion.
I certainly can do so, Madam Chair. Would you like me to kind of explain the state of the law, or?
Yes, please, in a brief matter, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Will do.
You don't have to read through the whole thing.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, there is a statutory section on point for a situation such as this. It's North Dakota Century Code 48-01.2-06. Essentially, this section of the Century Code permits a governing body to accept bids, as Mr. Blix explained, for portions of a project or a single prime bid for the whole, including construction, electrical, and mechanical. The situation we're presented with is kind of a unique situation that's not directly addressed with this statute. However, I did have an opportunity to reach out to an attorney for the Insurance Reserve Fund, as well as an attorney, Mr. Burst with the North Dakota Association of Counties. Our interpretation of the statute is that there is not a bid specifically for electrical or mechanical. While one of the bids contains that in the single prime bid, there's not an individual bid for that portion. In turn, the lowest responsible bid for the construction portion of the contract would be the ICS bid at $129,850. The statute allows that a governing body may negotiate a contract amendment with a contractor that holds the largest portion of the contract. So in this situation would be the construction portion of that contract. And so it allows a governing body to negotiate for those other two portions, the electrical and mechanical, if the governing body elects to do so. With that said, you're not bound to do so. So the way I read the statute, the commission is presented with 4 different options today. Number 1 would be the commission could go to the lowest responsible bidder for the construction portion, in this situation being ICS, and negotiate the other 2 portions of the contract that they did not bid out. So the electrical and mechanical. The commission would not be bound to accept what they may submit, but could merely negotiate and then make that decision based on what they submit for those other 2 portions of the contract. The second option for the commission would be to accept the single prime bid, which is Construction Engineers, at the $149,850 $12,900 mark. The third option would be for the commission to rebid the electrical and mechanical portions individually. With that said, that obviously would take additional time. And then the fourth option would be to reject all bids and rebid the project as a whole, which obviously also would have that same consideration of the additional time it would take. I fully recognize there's a lot of options before the commission and a very confusing state of the law. So I would be open to any questions if any commissioners have.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Wamstead?
This is Dave. I don't have any questions, but she referred me to that statute earlier. So I would have some discussion at the point where that's appropriate.
Go on,
Oh.
Commissioner Engen.
Okay. It seems to me that I've read the statute, and I think the interpretation of Haley and Attorney Swanson, and who else was it?
Aaron Burst.
Yeah, that seems to be correct to me. So we can either, I don't think the idea of rebidding electrical and the last one of rejecting them all is good, but our two options are either accept ICS at 129,850 or accept construction engineers at 149,900. Now, the difference between construction engineers 149 bid and their 139.9 bid makes it appear that they allowed 10,000 for this other work. But if we accept 149.9, then we're paying 20,000 more than we might, or at least 10,000 more than we'd have to, because if we accept ICS, it's 129. If we accept the extra 10 that construction engineers would have put on, we might be able to get this project for 139. So it strikes me that it might make sense to accept ICS and negotiate with them and try. We've got 20,000 negotiating space in there to get it done for less than the top bid so far in the whole thing. It's a little confusing how I explained it perhaps, but if we go with 129,850 and then negotiate, we might be able to get it more cheaply than if we just accepted construction engineers at 149.9. And I think the statute clearly allows us to do this.
That certainly makes a lot of sense. Any other comments by commissioners?
My only comment is that I had looked at that as well, and those were the same figures that I had come up with. And they were my same thoughts to go with ICS. And then we could rebid, I guess, or bid for the
Negotiate with ICS for
Yes.
electrical and
Yes.
mechanical?
Yes.
Okay.
No, with, go ahead.
Yeah, if we went with, for this option, if we went with ICS for the construction portion, then we would plan to negotiate with ICS to include a bid for the electrical and mechanical. Is that correct, Ms. Wamstead?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, yes, I think that would be a correct route to take. One thing I would just clarify is I would recommend to the commission to not formally accept ICS's bid at this time, but defer that decision until we receive their bids for the other two portions of that project. And perhaps we could come up with if the commission wished a timeline by which we'd like to see their response to that. I believe Mr. Blix can correct me if I'm wrong. The commission has 30 days to accept one of the bids before the commission. And so long as it was within that time period, I think we would we would be fine.
And certainly, since those bids were just open, that certainly gives us an opportunity to move forward in that area before the next commission meeting is held. Or even before the second commission meeting. No, it would be before the next commission meeting is held. Mr. Ford,
Yes, ma'am.
would you feel comfortable in visiting with ICS to see if they would want to put forth some information on electrical and mechanical?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would agree with the state's attorney's opinion and with the commission's direction. I think that's what we do. If it's doable, I'd like to see us able to bring something back to the commission at the March 2nd meeting. Hopefully that's not too soon of a deadline. I see Haley and Todd nodding their heads yes, so that would be my goal. A quick question for Ms. Wamstead. If we go back to ICS, to negotiate the mechanical and it winds up being higher, can we then go to construction engineer since they have the prime bid already?
Mr. Ford, members of the commission, yes, so long as we don't accept a bid today, the commission could make that assessment once that updated bid is received from ICS.
Yes, so Madam Chair, I would agree with Ms. Longstead and her recommendation.
Okay, and I believe that Commissioner Engen and Commissioner Knopf have already feel comfortable with that. Commissioner Falk, how are you with moving forward in that direction?
I agree with that.
Okay, and Commissioner Roth?
Yeah, I agree with that also.
Okay, and I agree with that also. So it seems like the commission is in support of that. So why don't we plan to take a look at this again at the March 2nd commission meeting, and then we can make a decision once we find out what ICS wants to offer for electrical and mechanical. Okay, then, is there anything else that we need to cover at this meeting? If not, if somebody wants to move to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Rost, I move to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the
motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This will be the roll call vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, and our